Welcome to Motor Garage. In this video we'll be installing a drain plug in this TH350 transmission. This transmission is out of our Chevrolet Nova and we will be installing this drain plug with part number 80250 by B&M. We're going to start by removing all the bolts that are holding the transmission pan in place. Here I'm using some brake clean and I'm gonna brush off any grime and dirt that is in the pan so that it doesn't go into the transmission. And then I'm using a flathead screwdriver to pry out the pan. Now we're cleaning the surface of the transmission really well before installing the new gasket. We're using Scotch bright pad, we're using here a razor blade, we're also using just regular paper with brake clean. You can use very many different things. The important thing is that we leave it very clean at the end. And the last cleaning step will be to vacuum out the perimeter of the pan just to make sure that nothing has fallen in. And after the transmission surface is clean, we're pretty much gonna do the same thing on the surface of the transmission pan. Here you can see that there's nothing in the way of the transmission, so we can pick that spot or this other spot to install the drain plug. And after deciding on the location, just use a punch and make a small hole on the transmission. And following the instructions, we have to make a 1/2 inch hole on the transmission pan. So I'll use first a smaller drill bit to drill a pilot hole. Now that we have the hole, we are going to be using a wire wheel to make sure that we clean the surface and there's not any metal shavings. In the inside, I'm going to be using an angle grinder to make sure again that there's no filings, that there's nothing in the way and could potentially contaminate our transmission. Now let's go to installation. We are just putting the actual plug in through the hole from the bottom and then screwing the nut from the inside. Now this is the most important part. We're going to properly torque down the bolt and the torque is going to be 35 foot-pounds. And there you go, our B&M drain plug is installed. Now every time you would want to drain the fluid, you are going to be holding the outside nut with a wrench and then we're going to take out the center small bolt out. Make sure to hold it with a wrench because otherwise we can release the tension from the bolt that goes inside. To install the new gasket, we're gonna make sure that we have a very clean surface, and then I'm just gonna be using whatever glue I have here around. It's a little bit of Gorilla Glue, and I'm just gonna slightly put it over the new gasket so that it sits in place and it won't move when I'm trying to install the pan. Now we can flip it around and let the weight of the pen glue the gasket down a little bit, but do make sure to go through every single little hole with a small screwdriver and make sure that it lines up perfect. As you see here, we're now installing it, and we did give it a couple coats of paint so it looks a little bit nicer, but just the final step, make sure that everything lines up perfect, and it's very important to not force any bolt. Everything should go in fairly easy. Put them all by hand and then torque them. We're gonna be using a cross pattern, so start from the inside bolt and then work your way out towards the corners. And we are torquing all of this down to about 12 foot-pounds. They don't have to be very tight. I'm marking each bolt once it's torqued to make sure that I don't over tighten anything. Thank you all so much for watching this video. Please make sure to subscribe and let us know in the comments what you thought of this video and what would you like to see next.